The Citadel, Western Desert, Australia. To the unobserved eye, Immortan Joe is a warlord. To the auditor, he's chief executive. He has achieved what every corporate entity dreams of. Total vertical integration. He is the tap, the fuel, and the soul. Why do thousands stay at the foot of a tyrant? We look to Thomas Hobbes and his Leviathan. Hobbes argued that humans will trade any amount of liberty for physical security. In a wasteland where the alternative is a nasty, brutish, and short death in the dunes, Joe's tyranny is the only social contract on the ledger. But the social contract isn't signed in ink. It's maintained by the hardware of the pump. To understand the Citadel, we have to audit the Great Artesian Basin. It is one of the largest underground water reservoirs in the world, stretching across 22% of the Australian continent. In our timeline, it's a shared resource. In Joe's, it's captured capital. By hollowing out a mountain and installing a hydraulic lift system, Joe turned the geological feature into a vertical monopoly. He doesn't just own the water, he owns the access. This is the ultimate corporate dream, controlling the base layer of survival. When you control the only tap in a desert, your HR department is a firing squad, and your quarterly earnings are measured in the lives you choose not to end. In political science, we call this a Rentier State. Most nations derive power from the productivity of their citizens. Joe derives his power from a natural monopoly. By controlling the Great Artesian Basin, he extracts rent from the population in the form of blood and labour. This is the resource curse. When the leader owns the only well, the people are no longer citizens. They are a biological liability to be managed, not a workforce to be empowered. In a traditional economy, a workforce is an engine. In a rentier state, they are just extra mouths at the trough. When Joe looks at the wretched, he doesn't see potential. He sees shrinkage. This is the math of the resource curse. The more valuable the ground is, the less valuable the people on top of it become. But how does a CEO prevent a revolt of the desperate? Ownership of the water isn't enough to prevent a coup. For that, Joe needs what Max Weber called charismatic authority. Unlike a president with a law book or a king with a crown, a charismatic leader rules through the gift of grace. Their power is irrational and revolutionary. It relies on the leader providing a sign or a miracle to prove their divine status. In the Citadel, the miracle is the water. This isn't just charity, it's a validation ritual. Weber warns that if the miracles stop, the charisma evaporates, which is exactly why Joe's biggest fear isn't a lack of water, but a lack of awe. Joe doesn't just manage the water, he has commodified the afterlife. By linking his industrial output, the V8 engine, to a spiritual reward, Valhalla, he has successfully decoupled labour from suffering. The war boys aren't employees, they are stakeholders in a divine IPO. This brings us to the overall thesis. George Miller didn't create a chase movie, he filmed a supply chain collapse. Furiosa's betrayal isn't a personal escape. It is the theft of the Citadel's primary logistics vessel. Aside from the fact it's currently carrying the highly prized breeding wives of Joe, the war rig trades water, mother's milk, and the produce grown from Joe's hydroponic farms with the two other supply hubs in Joe's empire. Gastown for the petroleum and the bullet farm for munitions.
Crying shame.
By removing the war rig, she severed the link between the Citadel, Gastown and the Bullet Farm. The film is a 2-hour audit of a just-in-time economy failing in real time. In the Australian Wasteland, there are no heroes, only auditors with different priorities. Witness the ledger.